Everybody,
Good evening.
thank you for coming to the special meeting. It involves the Public Lands Committee. Everybody, please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the meeting.
I'm gonna take a roll call.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna start first with the committee, the Public Lands Committee. Councilman Gary Donovan
Councilman Gary Donovan, Councilman at Large, present.
and Council members Robin Watt Hamilton,
Robin Watt Hamilton, present.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani,
Ronald Quagliani, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno,
Robert Bruno, present.
and Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor is absent. And then I'm just gonna go, should I do the roll call for the rest of the council people? Okay. Okay, so we have Councilwoman Bridget Hosky. Here. Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite is absent. Councilwoman Sarah Acrobali is absent. Councilman Mitchell Galagnano.
Is here.
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker is absent. Councilman Victor Boris was in the building, but I don't, oh, he's in the hallway? Well, I know he's here,
come in.
he's not in the room. Councilman Robert Bruno?
Here.
Here they are.
Oh, Colleen just came.
And Melly.
Oh, and Melly. And Victor. Okay.
I'm here.
Councilman Robert Bruno?
Here.
Councilman Stephen Johnston?
Present.
And Chairman Peter Massaro.
Chairman Peter Massaro, present.
The other places, there's more.
You can read the call of the meeting.
I'm gonna read the call of the meeting. West Haven City Council Public Lands Committee meeting, August 31st, 2022. Notice agenda. In accordance with Rule 12 of the rules governing the actions of the City Council, Chairman Peter Massaro and Councilman Gary Donovan, Chairman of the Public Lands Committee, have called a committee meeting of the West Haven City Council Public Lands Committee to be held at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, August 31st, 2022, at the second floor Harriet North Courtroom, City Hall, 355 Main Street, West Haven, Connecticut. And the entire council as a whole is invited to attend.
Thank you, Stacy. I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Donovan.
Thank you, Chairman. The time is now 6:02. The Committee on Public Lands is in session. Those present are Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilman Quagliani, Councilwoman Hamilton, and Councilman Bruno. We have before us tonight Communication J from the August 22nd, 2022 agenda from Lee Tiernan, Corporate Counsel, regarding approval of leasing West Haven Pump House parcel on Kelsey Avenue for parking purposes and 6 Rock Street, West Haven, also known as Conference Center, to Rock Street Brewery, LLC. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session. Do I have a second from my committee?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. We are now in executive session. So I'd like to make a motion to bring this out favorably. I need a second.
So we're back into regular session at 8:24.
Okay, sorry. All in favor on the committee?
Aye.
What are we bringing out favorably?
Well, I have to read the whole thing again?
I think you have to read the resolution and any changes, right? So,
No,
No.
that's after.
So who just made the motion?
I made the motion and Roger made the second. Come out of committee. To bring this out.
To bring it
favorably.
out favorably to the whole council.
Correct.
This is the first part of you do need to read the communication J, that part of it.
Okay. From the August 22nd, 2020,
Communication J,
Communication J from Lee Tiernan, Corporation Counsel regarding the approval of leasing the West Haven Pump House parcel on Kelsey Avenue for parking purposes and 6 Rock Street Conference Center to Rock Street Brewery LLC. I'd like to make a motion to bring this out favorably.
and Councilman Hamilton
Second?
seconded it.
Yes. Second? All right. All in favor in that committee?
no, is there discussion?
Yeah. So usually after the motion
Any
and the
discussion?
second, then there's
All right,
discussion.
any discussion? Okay,
And
seeing none, all in favor?
No, wait, I had paused, I'm sorry, but,
Oh.
so
So
I
you
believe
could-
you gotta read the resolution of what we're bringing out favorably.
And you can also open it up
Thought
to
I'm
the
doing
whole
that after.
council.
No, just a point of order, if we just bring it out favorably, we're accepting the lease agreement as is, which I'm not prepared to do. So I think, Mr. Corp Counsel, how do we read we're in committee. We're still in committee, still on the first meeting. So there's action by the Public Lands Committee. So the motion would have to incorporate what we're going to bring forward to the council.
Yeah, no, I think Council Coagliani, it makes things less clumsy. You read the resolution you have, just to get discussion. And you may have,
So I'm reading this whole communication with the
read
caveat?
it in.
With the
Do I have a
caveat?
second? Now you have discussion, and there might be some additions, caveats that people want to add, and then you can vote on a final motion or not.
Okay, there's legal. So I'm reading to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, correct?
Well, it's really,
No.
start with
This is
resolve.
what I'm
Right,
saying.
What do you say?
You can read the whereas.
right.
All right, so resolve, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the leasing, no, I shouldn't be reading that.
Whereas.
All right, whereas the City of West Haven seeks private assistance to monetize the city-owned parcel known as Parcel L or 6 Rock Street. Whereas the City of West Haven used the RFP process to seek and identify appropriate developers. Whereas a private developer desires to invest $20 million in a long-term brewery operation. Whereas the City of West Haven desires to have public access to a Savin Rock Museum at no cost to the City of West Haven. Whereas the City of West Haven desires to retain ownership of 6 Rock Street Conference Center Parcel L. With caveats as well?
No, read resolve.
Okay. Resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves execution of ground lease contracts between the City of West Haven and Rock Street Brewery LLC. Further resolved that Nancy R. Rossi, as mayor of the City of West Haven, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents related to this resolution on behalf of the City of West Haven and to do and perform all acts and things of which she deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all agreements and documents contemplated by such documents. Caveats: 1, concerning leasing property at the corner of Kelsey and Captain Thomas Boulevard will be deleted. We will delete that language and include the following. Lesser will be provided 30 non-resident parking stickers at $1,500 a year for 10 years, and then they will purchase the stickers at the rate then established. Lesser can opt out of this arrangement if he produces a comparable or equivalent parking space or arrangements with a private entity. 2, subject to final corporation council office review and approval. 3, approval is subject to a requirement that Lesser shall return to the city council, that a written report every 90 days until the brewery opens for business concerning its due diligence, progress, and mandated action, and to provide Lesser time to secure additional parking from private sources. 4, Lesser shall present to the city council a memorandum of lease between it and New England Brewing Company, also known as NEPCO, signed by both parties prior to opening, that shall be for a duration of at least 20 years. Lesser and NEPCO shall commit in writing to a hiring and purchasing practice that maximizes a diverse workforce and West Haven residents and West Haven vendors. Lesser shall post with an agreed escrow agent a $50,000 performance deposit refundable upon opening of the brewery to protect the city. This shall be deposited with the city pursuant to the default provisions of this lease.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nope. Discussion to the whole council?
No, just the committee.
Discussion to the committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The time is now 8:30. Your committee on public lands is now closed.
Motion to
There it
adjourn.
Second.
I think we need it in the committee.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So we need a committee second.
Second. All in favor?
All in favor?
Committee, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. Now your committee is closed, 8:31 on public lands.
We need like a 2-minute buffer so we could change the.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before we have public session,
No,
what now?
no, we need to call, this is a new meeting, so we need to call the new meeting to order. And we need to go through the whole roll call and the pledge and everything else. And I need to read the call of the meeting.
Special meeting, we're opening the meeting for the special meeting on August 31st, 2022.
We're gonna have a pledge.
Call for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'm gonna take the roll call. Okay, I'm gonna take the roll call. Councilman Gary Donovan,
Councilman Gary Donovan, Councilman at Large, present.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor,
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large here.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani,
Ron Quagliani, council at large, present.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky,
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky, First District, present.
Councilwoman Sarah Akbali,
Councilwoman Sarah Akbally, Third District, present.
Councilman Mitchell Galignano,
Councilman Mitchell Galignano, Fourth District, present.
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton.
Got Melly.
Oh, did I forget you, Millie? Oh, I'm so sorry. Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite, I'm so sorry.
Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite, Second District,
I'm so
present.
sorry. Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton,
Councilwoman Robin Hamilton, 5th District, present.
Councilwoman Kathy Tucker,
Councilwoman Kathy Tucker, 7th District, present.
Councilman Victor Boris,
Councilman Victor Boris, 8th District, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno,
Councilman Robert Bruno, 9th District, present.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone,
Councilman Stephen Johnstone, 10th District, present.
and Chairman Peter Massaro.
Chairman Peter Massaro, present. You want to read
Okay,
the
I'm gonna
notice?
read the call. West Haven City Council, special meeting, August 31st, 2022, notice and agenda. In accordance with rule number 11 of the rules governing the actions of the City Council, Chairman Peter Massaro, and in accordance with the city charter of the City of West Haven, Chapter 3, Section 4B, Mayor Nancy R. Rossi have called a special meeting of the West Haven City Council to be held at 6:30 PM on Wednesday, August 31st, 2022, at the second floor Harriet North Courtroom, City Hall, 355 Main Street, West Haven, Connecticut.
Thank you, Stacy. Before we have public session, I want everybody to know it's going to be a half-hour public session. And before I even start, I would like to get an opinion of the council, and I'm going to ask each council member on this issue, and I'm going to start on this side with Councilman Johnstone. What's your opinion on this project?
Long story short, we need business. We went in executive session. We each said our words. We've negotiated, and we put our residents first. We heard the concerns, we collaborated with everybody, and we came to an understanding as a council as a whole.
Set.
Yep, thank you, Chairman.
Councilman Bruno?
Yeah, I would say the same as Councilman Johnstone, where we had a lot of questions, and in the last hour and a half, we have a lot of answers from our attorney and through NEPCO, and I'm good to go at this time.
Councilman Boris?
I also agree. I think that we put NEPCO's name involved in all this, and we think that it's best for the residents of West Haven. We want to look for a better future for West Haven, so the council, we did put the people first, so I agree.
Councilman Tucker?
No, I agree. I think that West Haven really could use a win, and I think that this gives us a great opportunity, to move in that direction. And so I think it would be beneficial for the city, and so I think that was part of the discussion that we all had.
Councilman Hamilton?
Yeah, I think that we all had enough time to talk about our issues, and we got it addressed, and I think there is a comfort level. I also think that we need an anchor, and this is the beginning to good things to happen.
Thank you. Councilman Galliano?
So, yeah, we did, all had our concerns, and we got most of our questions answered, and this is one step forward that this city needs badly. We all need it badly, and as Councilman Hamilton said, it's an anchor, and it's a step forward, and hopefully other businesses follow suit. This is a no-brainer that we need in this city at this time.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
I absolutely agree. Right now, West Haven is in an economic standstill, and I truly believe that this brewery will be the foundation of great things to come.
Thank you. Councilman Dunkworth?
So I drove all of you guys crazy, and I'm thankful that NEPCO came back and gave us everything that we asked for. I know that a lot of the residents are looking forward to this. I am sorry for my residents that will be affected in the immediate area with their quality of life issues. But I do think that this could really help us start something.
Councilwoman Hosky?
Thank you, Chairman. I think Councilwoman Tucker said it best when she says West Haven needs a win. I actually wrote it down because I think that is true. I think many don't realize that as much as, people may think this is a risk, I believe NEPCO and then we're taking a risk on us. But, you know, West Haven doesn't have the best reputation, and I am thankful that this developer and this company has chosen us, because they could have gone anywhere. And, they're sticking it out, so I am a resounding yes. If I could vote 10 times, I would. And I appreciate them, hopefully, as the councilwoman said, being an anchor for future development. And hopefully, what happened down in Allentown will start to spread in other parts of the city.
Thank you. Councilman Coivinon?
So, Chairman, I'm probably gonna be a little wordy in my comments, so I think I'm gonna hold off until after, when we have discussion as a council one other time, if you don't mind.
Councilwoman?
I agree with all my colleagues. When I got elected, I said that I wanted to leave West Haven just a little bit better than how I found it, and I truly believe that this is a great first step for all Westies. I'm a yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I'm absolutely for this. I'm glad that my colleagues have made many questions that were concerns of the residents, because, and it keeps being brought to us, so we have to listen to the residents. Well, I believe we did. I had numerous calls, numerous texts, numerous instant messages, but we wanted to make sure that we did our due diligence with the lease, and we did everything we possibly could to protect the city of West Haven, the residents, and I am wholeheartedly voting yes for this.
Thank you. I have something to say. When something comes in this city, which is far few between, the last big development we did have was in Allentown, which was a big plus, which cleaned up Allentown Center quite a bit. There's more to go. But something like this, you don't refuse. And for people that want to come here and chose to come here, and in our session, we asked for changes, and they did the changes willingly. And to be honest with you, they could go any place they want, like Councilwoman Hosky said. They didn't have to come here. And to me, it's a big development. You got a building that's been vacant for 15 years, costing us money, close to $20,000 a year of taxpayers' money, just sitting there, rotting, and nobody taking care of it. I think it's a big plus for the city to clean up that area. So that's my opinion on it.
You want me to get it over with now, Mr. Chairman, or you want me to wait?
Go right ahead.
You have any patience? I'll give you some patience, so listen, before I talk about going forward, I need to go backwards a little bit, right? Because this started a long time ago, right? This started last council. This started when I was a chairman. This started before we've had 5 new council members with us. So just to kind of rehash where we've been, right? The conference center's been an underperforming asset for as long as I can remember. No taxes coming in, expenses outweighed revenue year after year after year. Deferred maintenance, people have talked about, if we were to refurbish that and open it up as a conference center again, we're talking in the millions of dollars, because why? The city's not very good maintaining buildings, right? We know we have to do better. This is a perfect example of that. So because of that deferred maintenance, that building was closed in 2018, right? We didn't book anything else there, but we had to continue to heat it, snow plow it, make sure we cover the tarp. If there was vandalism, fix the issues there. So the city put this out to bid in 2020. And remember that not this council, the prior council approved the preferred developer who didn't perform, right? So after that year, in 2021, we put out the RFP again, right? And we had certain requirements to that RFP, and we had 2 proposals. One that fit the requirements of the RFP, the brewery, and one that didn't, regarding the sale of the land. We didn't want to sell the land, which was a hotel proposal. We agreed, even though that hotel proposal didn't fit the spirit of the RFP, to bring them in open session. They put their proposal forward, the brewery put their proposal forward, and the council at that time approved that the brewery be our preferred developer. So now we come full circle to tonight, where we gave the authority to the mayor and the corp council to negotiate a draft lease, and here's where we are tonight. So my thoughts on the project and the leasing agreement. So, listen, we don't decide land regulations, right? The ZBA and the Planning and Zoning reviews and approves the project, but I do have a couple of thoughts. I've heard a lot of commentary about the height of the building, and I just want to go back to, we had two proposals, and the other proposal was a 4 to 6 story hotel on that site, which would have completely blocked any view of the water or of Savin Rock. So in my mind, this is definitely more to scale to that site than a hotel would be. I've heard people say that the shorefront is our bread and butter, it's our gold mine. People aren't rushing to come here. We're fortunate that NEBCO has, right? I've heard, why don't we have boutique shops? Why don't we have a conference center? You know, why don't we have a community center? Or why don't we do anything? Why doesn't the city just spend a couple $100,000, raise the building, and keep it at open space? So there's a lot of, in my mind, doing nothing has a cost, right? We've talked about it. To maintain that asset, it's a blighted property on our shorefront for decades that we really need to do something with. So I'm in favor of the land use that was suggested. So I did a cost-benefit analysis because I think that's important, right? Listen, I want this project to succeed, but I want to make sure that the community is getting some value out of the development. So the city's maintaining the land asset. I mean, that's huge. That's huge. We're not selling shorefront property. And right now, property in West Haven is not valued at a very, very high level. So we maintain that property, we hold on that property, we put the developer puts a $20 million, project on top of that land, and what does it do? The value goes up on that property. So we have about it's about $500,000 an acre now for 4 acres. So we have that's probably about a $2 million asset that we get to keep, and the developer is going to build on it. So the numbers. So year one, the lease payment is $106,000. If we reject it, we get $0. The year one, the pilot payment, and that pilot is a payment in lieu of taxes. Since we're a city entity, we enter into a voluntary payment agreement as opposed to a regular straight mill rate agreement. So $2,900 with escalation. $4,900 with escalation. Year 5 is $40,000. Year 10 is $100,000. If we reject it, we get $0. Year 1 and then annually, personal property tax is estimated at $20,000. If we reject it, we get $0. Year 1 sewer use fee is estimated at $36,000. Sorry, but I'll say it again. If we reject it, we get $0. Year 1 permit fee revenue is estimated at $360,000. If we reject it, we get $0. The developer investment, $20+ million in that site. The site that we own the land to. The building and the site improvements are $20 million. The city investment of that is $0. They're providing us 1,700 square feet of space dedicated to the Savin Rock Museum at $0 cost to the city. If we reject it, we either don't display the memorabilia of Savin Rock, or we have to lease the space at a going rate of about $20 a square foot, times 1,700 feet is about $34,000 a year that the city would have to pay. The environmental benefit is a state-of-the-art stormwater retention system would be put in place. If we reject it, we continue with the old outdated system that we have there now. Other intangible benefits: corporate headquarters of NEBCO, good paying jobs, community engagement, tourism, fundraising, branding. I can't wait to see Brood in West Haven, Connecticut on every can. So the total year 1 estimated revenue, I know we stick to that 106 number and we say that's low. All in for year 1 is $166,000. With permits is over $500,000, $526,000. I'm in favor of layering in the revenue to the city because in year 1, there's no building, there's no business, right? And hopefully come year 2, they have the business, they get established, they begin to be successful, and they're going to be here for a long time paying revenue to the city. I've heard some concerns about the developer. And I have to tell you that all developers have wins and have losses. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with what they did or they didn't do. So in doing my due diligence, I reached out to
who I have, an individual I have an incredible amount of respect for, one of the best municipal CEOs in the state of Connecticut, and that's First Selectman Mike Frieda of North Haven, who is really the gold standard in economic development as far as I'm concerned. And he partnered with the developer, Mr. Gray, on a development in North Haven. I believe it's called North Haven Commons. And he couldn't have enough good things to say about this developer. Some of the things that he said is, Doug is extremely qualified and does great work. If Doug is doing the project, it will be done tactfully, aesthetically appealing, and will be a project of high quality. He was clear that he wouldn't hesitate to work with this developer again. So an endorsement from Mike Frieda goes a long way for me. I've seen how they've conducted their business in North Haven, and I'm very, very impressed by it. So I've listened and spoken with many residents and appreciate their fact-finding, due diligence, and opinions, and I really do. I'm glad to the people that reached out to me, because public participation is not only necessary, but it's definitely wanted part of the process. So for me, after all in, we keep ownership of our shorefront land asset. The developer abates the building of all contaminants at their cost. The developer demolishes the old building at their cost. The developer upgrades the site, including installing a new drainage system at their cost. The developer builds a $20+ million building and site work on their land at their cost. The developer provides us with 1,700 square feet of space for the Savin Rock Museum at no cost to the city. The developer enhances the code compliance and ADA compliance of the site to include new sidewalks, wheelchair ramps, and bike racks at their cost, and will pay us over $500,000 just in the first year to do that. So based on all this, I do support the project. The majority of the constituents I have spoke with support the project. I was not in favor of the parking component on the corner of Kelsey and Captain Thomas, and I think to the developer and NEBCO's credit, we've worked through that this evening. So I just want to thank NEBCO for hanging in there. I hope they continue to hang in there. There's so many intangible and tangible benefits to this project, and I'm excited to hopefully finally see something move forward in West Haven. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your patience. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Oh, yeah, you've done very well. I'll open the floor to the public. It's going to be a half-hour speaking, but I would like to have someone new, if they have something to say, that never spoke about this issue, come up first, and then whoever's left after that could come up and speak. So I'm going to put a half hour on the time clock, and anybody would like to come up and address the council. Would anybody like to come up and address the council for the second time, for the final and third time?
I gotta get up. My name's Rich Hebert. I live at 166 Bloom Street. I was here at the last meeting, and the mayor chided us 18 people for speaking out. Now, I did not know of any of the 18 people that said they were adamantly against this project, and I felt it insulting to me as a citizen to be berated by the mayor. She sits up there, and then she comes down here and speaks. That's not right. We're entitled to ask questions, and a lot of the questions were very pertinent. We have a multi-million-dollar project going on here, and you think we're just supposed to sit back and be quiet? I don't agree. I do have a question, maybe you folks can answer me. Do we have date certain goals on this project? Do things have to happen, or are we gonna have another Haven?
The developer wants to open up by next year.
But is that written down somewhere?
They are going to report to us every 90 days.
That's not what I'm asking you. Is it written down, is it part of your contractual agreement that they have to meet certain goals by date certain?
Yes, they want to open up.
That's an
before
answer.
Around July 4th.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Weinstein.
Andy Weinstein, 20 Platt Avenue. My biggest concern, I heard today that there are already 2 appeals, so there will be lawsuits moving forward. We're signing a lease with a developer to get NEBCO in here. If And I heard this morning that if it wasn't approved tonight, NEBCO had already had discussions with other places that they're going to move on to if we didn't approve. These lawsuits generally take anywhere from 6 to 18 months. If NEBCO walks away during those 6 to 18 months, do we still have a contract with a developer who can put in something besides a brewery? There's no contract if it's not NEBCO?
Yeah.
You know, the requirement is that they can only build a brewery there. That was what it was approved for, a brewery. So you can't put any other light manufacturing there, it'd have to be a brewery.
So if it's not NEBCO, they have to recruit another brewery?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. And I appreciate the back and forth dialogue. I think it's missing in regular council meetings. Thank you.
Anyone else like to come up and address the council?
Hi, Marilyn Wilkes, 250 Ocean Avenue. I had prepared remarks for tonight, but I could see that there's really no point in me saying exactly what I had planned to say since you all have already made up your mind. I will just leave you with this one thing. Why have we not seen any rendering of the building next to our iconic Savin Rock and Jimmy's? Have we seen that at all? Have we seen drawn to scale from Captain Thomas Boulevard? That actually exists, not an aerial, but looking at the building, really. Because I've tried to get that. Brian Zahn tried to get that. I'd love to know where I can get that to see it. Where can I see that? I mean, I called planning and zoning, but Mr. Soto has one foot on a banana peel, so he didn't get back to me. So where is that image? I'd love to see it.
I know the developer had renderings when he came to the meeting, not enough to hand out to everybody, but just they had a rendering on what it looked like.
I will get you a copy of that. I will speak to you on it, and I will speak to the developer, and I will get you, you're in my district, and I will be more than happy to help you with that.
Very good, thank you.
Anyone else like to come up and address the council for the second time? Mr. Walters.
Ron Walters, 5 Fenwick Street. First of all, I'd like to say, I don't agree with the 30-minute time frame that we have. We sat outside waiting for over 2 hours, and I think the public should have as much time as needed to discuss this issue. It's that important. First of all, I think your decision is short-sighted and irresponsible. This project is too large for the site. Councilman Quagliani said we didn't want to have a hotel 5 stories. This is a 46-foot high building sitting on top of a 4-foot pile of fill. Within 18 feet of Savin Rock, our most iconic, historic, scenic spot in the city. This building is, never mind not having Zoning Board of Appeals approve 4 variances, that there was no hardships presented by the property owner or the applicant other than we need a building this size, which is 3 times larger than their existing building they have in Woodbridge. Not to mention, planning and zoning approves the application even in violation of their regulations. They're required to have over 200 spaces there. They only have 100, and now they're looking at, what, 20 or 34 to get from the city? In a spot that is situated a sanitary sewer pump station that eventually might have to be repaired, might have to be expanded, and we're going to lose that spot. It's just absolutely irresponsible.
Ron, we're not taking that. That's out. That pump station is out. They got we're doing it something different, totally.
Okay, so not only do they not have enough parking spaces, but the city is also losing 128 existing spaces that are there. And I don't see where the city is gonna make up for that parking lot that is public parking, that you're now turning into private. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to come and address the council? For the second time, would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Third and final time, anybody else like to address the?
Stephen Mullins, 22 Oak Road, in Allentown. I just want to say, last week, as you know, Planning and Zoning Commission did approve the application from NEPCO, and we did come to the conclusion, as you find in our deliberations, that it does fit perfectly within the plan, the city's plan of conservation and development of 2017. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to come up and address the council? Second time, anybody else? Yes.
Hi, good evening. Michelle Gregorio, 26 Fairview. Many of us came here tonight to speak to the conditions of the contract, but can't do that now because we don't know what changes were made. So is there any way that you guys could bullet point what changes were made to the contract at this point? I'm sorry?
I read them earlier.
Okay,
caveats.
missed it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna be publishing that?
Well, you're gonna read them again. I mean, I'm gonna read them again at the end. You know, I'll be reading the whole thing.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay. So you're gonna read them again?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Would anybody else like to address the council? Would anybody else like to address the council? Third and final time, would anybody else like to address the council? Public session is over at 9 o'clock. Okay, now I'd like to turn the meeting over to Public Lands Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. The time is now 9 o'clock. Am I reading just the resolution, correct?
You're saying to the honorable.
That one, right?
Yeah,
I just want to
but
make sure.
I think that you
And then the
changed the
caveats.
section
I did. You got,
Resolve this up
I got all that, yep.
You got it changed, right?
Yep. Okay, to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Public Lands, to whom was referred the matter of the lease of 6 Rock Street Conference Center to Rock Street Brewing LLC. Reports that the committee met on the 31st day of August 2022 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the leasing of 6 Rock Street Conference Center to Rock Street Brewery LLC. Whereas the City of West Haven seeks private assistance to monetize the city-owned parcel known as Parcel L and, or 6 Rock Street. Whereas the City of West Haven used the RFP process to seek and identify appropriate developers. Whereas a private developer desires to invest $20 million in a long-term brewery operation. Whereas the City of West Haven desires to have public access to a Savin Rock Museum at no cost to the City of West Haven. Whereas the City of West Haven desires to retain ownership of 6 Rock Street Conference Center Parcel L. Resolved that the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves execution of ground lease contracts between the City of West Haven and Rock Street Brewery LLC. Further resolved that Nancy R. Rossi, as mayor of the City of West Haven, is authorized and directed to execute and deliver any and all documents related to the resolution on behalf of the City of West Haven, and to do and perform all acts and things which she deems to be necessary or appropriate to carry out the terms of such documents, including but not limited to executing and delivering all agreements and documents contemplated by such documents. The caveats that we included, these are the changes. 1, concerning leasing property at the corner of Kelsey and Captain Thomas Boulevard, we will delete that language and include the following. Lesser will be provided 30 non-resident parking stickers at $1,500 a year for 10 years, and then they will purchase the stickers at the rate then established. Lesser can opt out of this arrangement if he produces a comparable or equivalent parking space or arrangements with a private entity. 2, subject to final Corporation Counsel Office review and approval. 3, approval is subject to the requirement that lessor shall return to the council a written report every 90 days until the brewery opens for business concerning its due diligence, progress, and mandated action, and to provide lessor time to secure additional parking from private sources. 4, lessor shall present to the city council a memorandum of lease between it and New England Brewing Company, also known as NEPCO, signed by both parties prior to opening, that shall be for a duration of at least 20 years. Lessor and NEPCO shall commit in writing to a hiring and purchasing practice that maximizes a diverse workforce in West Haven residents and West Haven vendors. Lessor shall post with an agreement escrow agent a $50,000 performance deposit refundable upon opening of the brewery to protect the city. This shall be deposited with the city pursuant to the default provisions of the lease.
Councilman Donovan read the resolution. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Galliano. Councilwoman.
Can I just have a point of order real quick for Lee, if you don't mind? So when I'm typing this up in a resolution, I'm going to change the direction of it a little bit, where I'm gonna put these caveats as conditions before the further resolved, if you don't mind.
That's fine.
Okay. Still all the same language, just for, it just needs to be that way.
Take a roll call vote.
Did you have a discussion?
Oh, discussion, I'm sorry. Discussion? Mary, you?
Are we having the developer come up, like, can we have the developer come up and answer our questions if we're in discussion?
We're in discussion.
Right, like, we need to
Mr. Gregg,
do that.
some people thought it would be nice if we could hear about some of your history as a developer, so that was on the record.
I'm Douglas Gray, Turtleback Road, New Canaan, Connecticut.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you.
Thank you. I'm not sure you want my whole history as a developer. It's 33 years I've been developing real estate. Southern California, Washington, Arizona, Hawaii, Connecticut, Oregon. Consisting of, well, let's take, started out with small little strip centers, moved up to some apartment buildings and some much larger centers, have demalled 2 malls of over 1 million square feet each. In current market value, probably north of $2 billion worth of real estate I've developed and opened. This, quite honestly, is one of the smallest projects in a long, long time. But in terms of emotion, I put myself in every project. And so I take great pride in what I build, and making sure it looks nice and is a big plus to the community on what we build. So it will be maintained. This is one that's staying in the portfolio for a long time. You guys will see me around a lot. Well, you'll see me every 90 days on top of that too. Developed 9 Target anchored centers, 8 Home Depot anchored centers. Like I said, 2 malls demalled with theaters, strips, apartment buildings. I don't know how much detail you want me to go into. It's pretty boring, but
Well, Mr. Gray, maybe you could, when you get a chance to finish this project, you could buy the Havens from somebody. We can get going
not
with
at
that.
41 million, I couldn't.
Just like to see this project get done, that's all.
This is a project that from start to finish, we should be, as soon as we're able to get moving, we'll be inside a year. The goal is 9 to 10 months. It all depends on, this is a little different in that the building is actually fabricated somewhere else, and then we put it together like an erector set here. So once that's our time lag. So right now, we're told that's anywhere from 6 to 7 months. A few months ago, that was 8 to 9 months. Before COVID, that was 4 to 6 months. Hopefully, we get somewhere in the 4 to 6 months range. But during that time, once we get a date on when we know the building's going to be prepared, then we go in and demo, take that building down, grind up the parking lot, stockpile the stuff, spread it out, get the slab down, have it ready, so hopefully we're only like a week, 10 days in between when the slab is there and the building shows up, and we literally put it together pretty much like an erector set. So, yeah, it's part A and B goes here and everything, but we'll do that. That will take, once the building shows, materials show up, that's going to take us about 30 to 45 days to do. Then we go in and do the fit out on the interior, then finish the parking lot and landscape and everything. We should be 90 days thereafter for it. So that's where, you know, if we get everything resolved that we know it's a go on a project, the building gets ordered in about 3 weeks. And then that time frame, you can add it all together on that. That's where the 9 to 10 months comes in on that. So we're excited about it. I know New England Brewery is very excited about it. It's something that we're gonna hold long-term. And I didn't move to Connecticut to actually build things that I'm not going to own. So we're excited about the opportunity. I have been historically, over the last 20 years, specializing much more in redevelopment projects. As I'm sure I beat this drum before, I know what a good redevelopment project does around it. And if you build the right product, which I know this is going to be for this community, this ripple effect will be felt throughout the whole city of West Haven. So we're excited about it and excited to see what else happens around it too, on what we do. So if you want to ask much more specific questions, I can see one.
Yes, I always ask very difficult questions, and they make people uncomfortable, but I would like to know about your projects that were not successful in Connecticut. Could you tell us why?
Project that was not successful in Connecticut, I had a project in Derby that we were going to do that the city had certain criteria that they had to meet to be able, for me to be able to develop on it, that they didn't meet.
Okay.
There were several parcels that they were going to acquire that they didn't. I don't know if you know the site, it's south of Main Street there, and it was the entire area south of Main Street. And they just couldn't acquire all of it.
Okay. And that was the only one?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about in California? Can you tell us a little bit?
California, every project I worked on, I finished.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to put that on public record.
Yeah,
For
there
our
is.
residents.
To be quite honest, there are, as a developer, I'll tell you, I'm not a shotgunner. I don't try to chase 10 projects at a time and hope to do 2. I try to be much more of a sniper because, well, to give you an example, I'm already several $100,000 into this one. So money goes quickly.
Yeah, so you wouldn't want to go to East Haven.
Free development. So there have been projects that I did chase that I didn't get, but that's not projects that I didn't do. So every project I started, we finished. And if it gives you any consolation, the $50,000, quite honestly, the construction loan on this, I signed personally for. So I'm personally guaranteeing a large sum on top of that. This project will be finished. And you will see New England Brewing Company there for hopefully a long, long time. I'm planning, as a landlord, I'm planning on them doing fantastic business. We all have a common goal here. And that's for New England Brewing to be unbelievably successful in this location and in this city particularly, because that's going to help everyone involved.
Okay, thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions? Steve?
Mr. Gray, thank you. This is actually a question for us to help you and you to help us, because I could just picture it now. He said 10 months, and now we're delayed. My question is, do you, just out of curiosity, just so everyone's aware, are there any hiccups that you can think of off the top of your head right now that would possibly delay it a couple weeks to a month? Just to keep everyone informed of just everything going on in the development world these days.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, with the appeals that have come in on this, that until those are resolved, I really can't get moving full speed.
Okay.
Once those are resolved, then everything's under my control. And this thing will be up and done inside of a year. That's giving weather delays or something, but we really shouldn't be hit with that much weather delays on this site. Basically, we're building on rock. So, you know, the demo is going to take a few weeks. Then we're importing right after that, and then our primary timing item again is we order the building, we find out when the building's going to come, and then I take back from that delivery date of the building on when we need to start to do everything else. So we don't have a big lag period where I'm sitting, where I've demoed, have the site ready to go, and I'm waiting for a month or 2 months for a building. That doesn't do any good. But you will see for a time period, there will be a slab there waiting for a building to show up. Hopefully it's a short time period. If I planned everything correctly, which I've got a lot of experience on this. It's not rocket science. But it's the appeals, I don't know how long that takes to resolve those. So hopefully not long at all. But that's quite honestly out of my control.
Thank you, Mr. Gray, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chairman.
Councilman Bruno?
Mr. Gray, thank you very much for your patience. Can I obtain some colored photos of the building that's going to be going up, the latest draft, so I can provide it to the constituent that asked for it, please?
If you, yeah, just give me an email and I'll email everything to
So
you.
before you leave, can I see it for a second for your
Yeah.
info? I
Yeah.
want to provide that to her as soon as I possibly can.
Well, can we get on the city website? Uploaded.
On the website, the latest one?
Yeah, I mean, we presented them in open session, so.
I
No,
still-
no, that's why I'm saying I have no trouble then putting it on the website.
But I still want to provide it like I said I would.
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah.
I'll get your info before you leave. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. You all set?
Yeah.
Councilman Barr?
Mr. Gray, I want to say thank you. I think you sound very positive. And just out of note, I know there's people out there that don't want to see the Havens issue. Like, what would you say to the people that don't think that you're going to finish this project? I mean, what can you say to them to make them understand that you're truly, truly invested in this and there's nothing that's going to stop you from finishing this project?
Like I said, I'm several $100,000 into it already, and we didn't even have the approval. I mean, now we do. We've done the homework on the site. There's nothing on the site that should stop us from being able to build this building. We'll see with the 2 appeals that I was just made aware of. We'll see how long that takes. Unfortunately, you know, my hands are tied until those are really resolved. But that being said, that's when the clock really starts running for me.
Thank you for coming to West Haven. Thank you.
Thank you for welcoming us. We're excited about the opportunity. We really are. And to be part of this community for a long time.
Appreciate it.
And my kids will be, and my grandkids. You can,
They mattered. And I just want to give a thank you to NEPCO. It's just really important to me, and I think West Haven needs to know that, you know, the employment, that you're going to be looking for West Haven residents to give them first shot if they're skilled or have and that's important, right? And I appreciate that, and I appreciate the concessions that you've made in our requests to you. Personally, I just really want to thank you both, and I promise I'm going to drink the beer, even though I'm not a beer drinker. That's all, Chairman.
All set? Mayor?
Well, first, I would like to thank NEPCO for choosing West Haven. I think that this is going to be a good project. I've thought this from the beginning. I believe in it 110% or better. And I laugh because I don't even drink beer, but you have wine, so I'm good. Next, I really would like to thank every member of this city council for persevering, for finding out the answers, for doing what is right by our citizens, and assisting in bringing this project to fruition. I think it's important that, you know, we all work together, and we have, and I think this is extremely important. It's important to all of us, it's important to the residents, and it's important to the visitors that we're going to have. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you. I was a member of the city council. I know how hard it is to be away from your family and everything and spend late nights here, and yet you did that for the good of our city, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure the residents appreciate it as well. And I'm hoping that we are done with the appeals, as you said, quickly, that we can move forward with that very, very quickly and get started on working on demolishing the building and putting up the new one. So again, I can't thank NEPCO enough, and all the boards and commissions that listen through this, whether it be P&Z, obviously the city council, ZBA, I don't know if I forgot anyone, but that everyone, you know, worked together, and this is wonderful. And this, I want everyone out there to know West Haven, as you can see, is open for business. So if anyone else would like to come here and join with us, we have an open invitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else? None?
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Gary Donovan,
Absolutely, yes.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani.
Yes.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sarah Akbarali.
Yes.
Councilman Mitchell Valadiano.
Yes.
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker.
Yes.
Councilman Victor Boris.
Yes.
Councilman Robert Bruno.
Yes.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone.
Yes.
And Chairman Peter Massaro.
Yes.
Turn up your aid.
Motion adjourned. Good job.